Hi, Tony.
Brothers, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Really good. You've asked me along today to talk through yours and Zen's COVID story, and on the back of that, the resulting journey to your purpose.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, with the annual anniversary just ticking by, I thought it was an appropriate time to begin to reflect, just from a learning perspective, really. Our journey over the last year as an organisation. And when I started to reflect, it became very evident that our journey kind of maps and mirrors the change curve. Now, I'm just going to get a change curve up, Phil, and you're going to remind me what it's called, because I can never remember.
Kubler-Ross.
Kubler-Ross, the Kubler-Ross change curve, yeah. So that shock stage, that's exactly where we were as an organisation back in late March, April, May time of last year. Zen, I'd not been in Zen's door for very long. I'd only been with the company 3 or 4 months. So, Phil, I was in the stages of putting a plan together, a plan to take the organisation forward. And then, obviously, the pandemic hit, and that all got put to one side to a certain extent. So we went from being very planned to a situation where we're making lots of decisions very, very quickly. And Phil, as always, when you make decisions quickly, inevitably you get some right, and inevitably, in hindsight, you reflect and you think, we got that one wrong. So that change curve in that early stages absolutely kind of reflected where we were as a business at that time,
And how was Bruce during that time?
Bruce, my managing director, I think he was probably in the same place, really. He kind of said to me one day, which for me nailed it in a oneer. He said to me one day, Tony, have you got a book which illustrates how to lead a group of people and an organisation through a pandemic? And, well, wow, absolutely. That kind of one semi-sarcastic question, it kind of summed it up completely for me. Phil, I did have a look. I had a look on my bookshelf just in case, but guess what? There just wasn't one there. So, yeah, that one question kind of epitomised really what a challenging time it was from a leadership perspective,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I suppose the curve really gives us a nice framework for future conversations, which will be, really good and interesting to go through with yourself. I suppose, however, initially, I'd be interested to understand how you felt at that initial stage.
How I felt? Yeah, that's actually a really easy question to answer, because it's still very clear, even though it's a year down the track now. How I felt was very anxious. There was an element of vulnerability in there, a bit of fear, you have to say, in terms of whether or not I had the right skill set to be able to lead a team of people through such an unprecedented event. So it was that. Am I good enough? I like to think I know some stuff about leadership, but did I know enough? If there was anything that was keeping me up on a night, it was that responsibility to my team to be able to be good enough to get them through that. So, in terms of how I was feeling at that time, Phil, that really epitomised my overwhelming feeling. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be good to engage with other people, really, to understand, I suppose, how they felt as well during that time. That would be interesting to understand. I'd also like to kind of continue the conversation with you to really understand what you did around that time.
Yeah, and I think for future conversations, it'd be good to start to get into the nuts and bolts in terms of the things that we did. But like you said, if there's any engagement on the back of this initial conversation, how did people feel? How did leaders feel? How did people within organisations feel? How they felt. Was it the same things as me? Was it different? Again, just from a learning perspective, it'd be interesting to kind of get other thoughts and other comments about how people were feeling during that early stage.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Look forward to it.